The dark meeting room in the Empire's main ship was cold and silent. Admiral Cax Thule looked at the blue screen floating in front of him. On it was a picture of a human man with dark hair and calm eyes. The name under the picture read Kim Dae-ho. Cax Thule's forearms moved slowly as he touched the screen. More pictures appeared. Each one showed destroyed Empire bases, stolen ships, and dead soldiers, all because of one human. "This human has cost us too much," said General Vector, his voice deep and angry. "3 of our best bases are gone. 17 billion credits lost. Our enemies laugh at us." The other Empire leaders around the dark table made angry sounds. Their different alien faces all showed the same thing: hate for the human who had hurt them so badly. "How does one human do so much damage?" asked Commander Zil-Noth. Her snake-like body moved as she spoke. "Our intelligence says he works alone most of the time." Admiral Cax Thule pulled up more files. Videos showed Kim Dae-ho in different places across the galaxy. Sometimes he looked like a traitor, sometimes like a worker, but always Empire operations. Failed when he was near. "He is not just lucky," Cax Thule said. "This human plans everything. He knows our weak points better than we do." The room became quiet. Outside the big windows, stars moved slowly past as the huge Empire ship traveled through space. "What do we do?" asked General Vector. Cax Thule smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "We send the Crimson Dozen." Fear filled the room. Even these powerful Empire leaders were scared of the Crimson Dozen. They were 12 killers from different worlds. Each one had never failed to kill their target. "All 12? Commander Zil-Noth asked. "For one human?" "This human is not normal," Cax Thule said. "He has destroyed our bases, stolen our secrets, and made us look weak. If we send just 1 or 2 killers, he might escape. We need all 12. The Admiral touched his control panel. Pictures of the 12 assassins appeared around the room. Each one looked different and scary. "Veltar the Mind Ripper will lead them," Cax Thule said, pointing to a tall alien with metal parts in his head. "He can read thoughts and control minds." More pictures showed the other killers. One could change his shape to look like anyone. Another could walk through walls. One had weapons that could destroy anything. Each killer was the best at what they did. "Where is the human now?" General Vector asked. "Planet Kepler 442b, Cax Thule answered. "It's a mining world. He's hiding there, probably planning his next attack on us." "Perfect," said Commander Zil-Noth. "A small world with few people. The Crimson Dozen can work without anyone knowing." Cax Thule sent the order across space to the secret base where the Crimson Dozen waited. Within hours, their black ship would leave for the mining planet. Far away on Earth, Lee Soo-jin sat in her small office. She worked for Human Intelligence, Command. Her job was to help human agents who worked in dangerous places across the galaxy. Her computer made a soft sound. A new message appeared. It was marked, "Emergency, Highest Level." Lee Soo-jin read the message quickly. Her face became worried. The Empire had found Kim Dae-ho. They were sending their best killers after him. She looked at Dae-ho's file on her screen. He was one of their best agents. He had worked alone in Empire space for 3 years. He had given them information that saved millions of human lives. But 12 assassins was too much for anyone. Lee Soo-jin typed a message quickly. She made it short and simple the way Dae-ho liked. 12 shadows incoming. You're the light they want to extinguish. Good luck, friend." She sent the message through the secret channels that connected Earth to agents across the galaxy. On Kepler 442b, Kim Dae-ho stood on a hill looking at the 2 moons in the dark sky. The mining planet was quiet at night. Most workers were sleeping, in the big metal buildings below. His communication device made a soft buzz. Dae-ho looked at the message from Lee Soo-jin. He read it twice, then deleted it. 12 assassins. The Empire was finally taking him seriously. Dae-ho walked back toward the mining facility. He had been working there for 2 weeks, pretending to be an equipment repairman. The other workers knew him as a quiet man who did his job well. But Kim Dae-ho was much more than that. He had trained with the best soldiers on Earth. He knew how to fight, how to hide, and how to think like his enemies. More importantly, he knew how to turn any place into a weapon. As he walked through the mining facility, Dae-ho looked at everything with new eyes. The big machines that dug metal from the ground. The power systems that gave energy to the whole base. The storage, areas full of explosive materials. He had 2 days, maybe 3, before the assassins arrived. That was enough time. In his small room, Daeho opened a hidden case under his bed. Inside were tools and weapons that looked simple but were very advanced. Human technology was different from Empire technology. Humans made things that could be used in many ways. He took out a small device and connected it to the facility's computer system. Information flowed across his screen. Maps of the base, power grids, security systems, and worker schedules. Daeho smiled. The assassins thought they were coming to hunt him. They thought he would run and hide like a scared animal. They were wrong. Kim Daeho had spent 3 years learning how the Empire worked. He knew their tactics, their weapons, and their weaknesses. The Crimson Dozen were famous across the galaxy, but they had never fought a human who was ready for them. He began to type commands into his device. Around the facility, small changes started to happen. Security cameras moved to new positions. Computer systems received new programming. Equipment was moved to different places. To anyone watching, it looked like normal maintenance work. But Daeho was building something the Empire had never seen before. A trap made from an entire planet. The mining facility would become his weapon. The workers would become his allies, even if they didn't know it. The planet itself would help him fight. As the night passed, Daeho worked quickly and quietly. He sent messages to his contact on the planet, Park Jin-woo. He prepared escape routes and backup plans. But most importantly, he prepared to show the Empire why humans were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The Crimson Dozen thought they were coming to kill one man. Instead, they were flying into a carefully planned battle where every advantage belonged to their target. Kim Daeho looked out at the stars one more time. Somewhere out there, 12 killers were coming for him. They brought advanced weapons, special powers, and centuries of killing experience. But they had never fought a human who had turned an entire world into his weapon. The hunt was about to begin. But the Empire had made one big mistake. They didn't know who was really the hunter and who was the prey. The black ship called Silent Reaper moved through space like a shadow. It made no sound and left no trail. Inside, 12 of the galaxy's most dangerous killers prepared for their mission. Veltar the Mind Ripper stood in the main room. His tall body was covered with metal parts that could read thoughts and control minds. Around him, the other 11 assassins checked their weapons and equipment. "Listen carefully," Veltar said, his voice cold and sharp. "Our target is Kim Daeho, a human intelligence agent. He has embarrassed our empire for the last time." The assassins looked at the picture of their target. To most of them, he looked weak and small. Humans were not known for being strong fighters. "Do not underestimate him," Veltar continued. "This human has destroyed 3 of our bases. But he is still just one man against 12 of us." Sekmon, the shapeshifter, moved his body like liquid. He could look like anyone he wanted. "I will take his form and walk among the humans. They will tell me where he hides." "Good," Veltar said. "Fendor, you will phase through their walls and attack from inside." He looked at an assassin whose body could become like smoke, able to walk through solid objects. The other killers each had their own special abilities. Korvash had weapons that could destroy anything. Jilneth could become invisible. Mektor's cybernetic body was stronger than any machine. "The planet is small," Veltar explained as he showed them a map. "One mining facility, maybe 500. Humans. We will land in 3 groups and surround the target." The ship dropped out of hyperspace near Kepler 442b. The planet looked peaceful, with its 2 moons and vast mining operations visible from orbit. "No military ships," reported the ship's pilot. "Only mining vessels and transport craft." Veltar smiled. This would be easy. On the planet's surface, Park Jin-woo received a coded message on his communication device. He was a supply coordinator for the mining facility, but he also helped human intelligence agents when they needed support. The message was from Kim Daeho. "Friends arriving soon. Time to welcome them properly." Park Jin-woo understood. He quickly sent messages to the other human workers he trusted. They didn't know exactly what was happening. but they knew to follow the emergency procedures that Daeho had taught them. Around the mining facility, small changes started to happen. Workers moved to safer areas. Important equipment was moved to protected locations. Security systems switched to new settings. To anyone watching, it looked like normal shift changes and maintenance work. The Silent Reaper landed behind a large hill, hidden from the mining facility's sensors. The first 3 assassins left the ship: Veltar, Fendor the Phase Walker, and Korvash the Destroyer. "Remember," Veltar told the others who stayed with the ship, "we do this quickly and quietly. No witnesses." The 3 killers moved toward the mining facility. Their sensors showed them exactly where the humans were working. Their target should be easy to find, but Kim Dae-ho was not hiding. He was waiting. Deep in the facility's main power room, Dae-ho made final adjustments to the fusion reactor. The big machine that powered the entire mining operation now had several new connections. To anyone looking quickly, they appeared to be normal safety systems. They were not safety systems. Dae-ho's communication device buzzed softly. Park Jin-woo was sending him updates on the approaching assassins. 3 contacts moving from the north. "Hill," the message said. "Others still at landing site." Dae-ho smiled. The assassins were doing exactly what he expected. They were being careful and professional, just like their training taught them. That training would get them killed. Veltar reached the facility's outer wall first. His mind-reading abilities showed him the thoughts of the human workers inside. Most were thinking about their jobs, their families, and when their shifts would end. Normal thoughts from normal people. But he could not sense Kim Dae-ho anywhere. Strange, Veltar thought. Where is our target? Behind him, Fendor prepared to phase through the wall. His special ability would let him walk through the metal like it was air. Korvash checked his weapons, ready to destroy anything that got in their way. Inside the facility, Dae-ho watched them through security cameras that he had repositioned during the night. He could see the 3 assassins clearly. They were exactly where he wanted them. He pressed a button on his control device. The fusion reactor's safety systems turned off. Power flowed through the new connections that Dae-ho had installed, but instead of powering machines, the energy went into special devices hidden around the facility's outer wall. The assassins were standing directly over the biggest one. "Now," Dae-ho whispered. The explosion was not large, but it was very precise. The ground under the 3 assassins erupted with controlled fury. Energy that could power a small city for a week was released in one focused blast. Veltar had time to realize what was happening. His mind-reading ability showed him Dae-ho's thoughts just before the explosion, calm, focused, and completely ready for this moment. Then the energy hit them. The blast was visible from orbit. The Silent Reaper's sensors showed a bright flash, where their 3 team members had been. "Veltar, report!" the ship's communication officer called. There was no answer. When the light faded, there was only a smoking crater where the 3 assassins had been standing. Small pieces of metal and strange materials were scattered around the hole. The remaining 9 assassins stared at their screens in shock. Their leader was gone. The most dangerous killers in the galaxy had been destroyed in seconds. "How?" whispered Sekmon the shapeshifter. How did he know where we were? Inside the facility, human workers ran to see what had caused the explosion. They found a maintenance worker named Kim Dae-ho checking the damage with a worried look on his face. "Gas pocket," he told them. "Sometimes the mining equipment hits underground gas. Very dangerous. Everyone needs to stay back while I check for more." The workers believed him. Gas explosions were common on mining worlds, but Park Jin-woo knew the truth. He looked at Dae-ho with new respect. The quiet repairman had just destroyed 3 of the Empire's best killers with mining equipment and clever planning. On the Silent Reaper, the remaining assassins tried to understand what had happened. Their sensors showed that the explosion had come from the facility's power systems, but that should have been impossible. "He turned their own equipment into a weapon," said Jilneth, the invisible one. "But how did he know we were coming?" The truth was worse than they could imagine. Kim Dae-ho had not just known they were coming. He had been ready for them since the moment he received Lee Soo-jin's warning. The mining facility was not just his hiding place. It was his weapon. Every machine, every power line, every computer system had been turned into a trap, and the remaining 9 assassins were about to learn that their famous reputations meant nothing to a human who had turned an entire planet into his battlefield. Daeho looked up at the sky where he knew the Empire ship was hiding. He spoke softly, knowing they could not hear him, but wanting to say the words anyway. "Welcome to my world. I hope you brought better friends next time." The hunt had begun, but the Empire's hunters were about to discover they had become the prey. On Earth, Choi Min-ho sat in the Human Intelligence Command Center, watching data streams from across the galaxy. His job was to analyze alien combat methods and help human agents fight better. What he was seeing from Kepler 442b was impossible. "The sensors show 3 energy signatures just disappeared," he said to his team, "like they were never there." His colleague, Jang Hee-wan, looked up from her communication station. "I'm getting Empire military transmissions. They sound confused and angry." Choi Min-ho pulled up Kim Dae-ho's file again. He had studied this agent before. Dae-ho was good, but not superhuman. How was he fighting the Crimson Dozen? He's not just fighting them, Min-ho realized. He's hunting them. Back on Kepler 442b, Kim Dae-ho moved through the mining facility like he owned it. The other workers saw him as the helpful repairman who had warned them about gas explosions. They had no idea he was fighting a war. Park Jin-woo found him in the communication room, working on the facility's long-range sensors. "What are you doing?" Park asked quietly. "Making improvements," Dae-ho replied, without looking up. "Our new friends will try to contact their ship soon. I want to listen to their conversations." Dae-ho's hands moved quickly over the control panels. Human technology was different from Empire technology. Where aliens built specialized tools for specific jobs, humans built tools that could do many things. The communication system now did much more than just send messages. It could track signals, decode encrypted transmissions, and even interfere with other electronic devices. "How many are left?" Park asked. 9, Dae-ho said. "But they're not working together anymore. They're scared." On the Silent Reaper, the remaining assassins argued about what to do next. "We should leave," said Mektor, his cybernetic voice cold and mechanical. "This human has technology we don't understand." "Coward," growled Corbeth the Berserker. His massive body was built for close combat. "I will tear him apart with my bare hands." Sekmon the shapeshifter studied the facility through the ship's sensors. "He used their power systems against us. We need to be more careful." "Careful?" Corbeth laughed. "We are the Crimson Dozen. We don't run from one human." But they were not the Crimson Dozen anymore. They were 9 confused killers who had never failed before and didn't know how to handle failure. "I'm going down there," announced Zilthar the Tracker. "Her species could follow any trail and find any hiding place. This human cannot hide from me." "Take Nekvon with you," suggested Sekmon, pointing to an assassin whose body was covered with sensors and scanning equipment. The 2 killers left the ship and moved toward the mining facility, but this time they approached from the south, away from where their teammates had died. Kim Dae-ho was waiting for them. He had spent the morning making more changes to the facility. The mining equipment was now connected to the planetary sensor network. The facility's defensive systems had been upgraded with human military software. Most importantly, he had studied the psychological profiles that Song Ji-hoon had sent him from Earth. Song was a xenopsychologist who understood how different alien species thought and acted. Zilthar the Tracker was proud of her abilities. Her species had evolved to hunt on a world with no hiding places. She could smell emotions, track heat signatures, and follow footprints that were days old. But she had never hunted a human who knew exactly how her abilities worked. Dae-ho had spent 2 hours spreading false scents around the facility. He used chemicals from the mining equipment to create fake heat signatures. He even left false footprints in carefully chosen locations. When Zilthar arrived, her senses told her that Kim Dae-ho was in 12 different places at once. "This is impossible," she whispered to Nekvon. "My tracking sense cannot be wrong." "Maybe he has cloning technology," Nekvon suggested, his sensors showing similar confusion. They split up to check the different locations. It was exactly what Dae-ho wanted them to do. Zilthar followed what seemed like the strongest scent trail to a storage building at the edge of the facility. Her hunter instincts told her that her prey was hiding inside. She opened the door carefully, ready for anything. Inside the building, the scent was overwhelming. It definitely smelled like the human she was hunting. But the room was empty except for mining equipment and storage containers. Zilthar stepped inside to investigate. Her foot touched a pressure plate hidden under the floor. The building's atmosphere immediately changed. Kepler 442b had a unique magnetic field that affected certain types of metal. Daeho had used this to his advantage. The storage containers opened, releasing a cloud of magnetic particles into the air. Zilthar's cybernetic tracking implants began to overload as the particles interfered with their sensors. At the same time, Nekvan was investigating another building. His advanced sensors detected movement in a basement room. He used his phase shifter to walk through the floor and drop into the room below. The room was full of mining robots, big machines designed to dig through solid rock. They were all turned off and looked harmless. But when Nekvan landed in the room, his weight triggered a simple pressure switch. The robots activated all at once, but not in their normal mining mode. Daeho had reprogrammed them with human military software. Now they thought Nekvan was an enemy target that needed to be eliminated. 12 mining robots attacked the assassin with tools designed to break apart asteroid rock. Nekvan's phase-shifting ability let him avoid the first few attacks, but the robots had been programmed to anticipate this. They sprayed the room with magnetic dust that stuck to anything, even phased matter. Soon, Nekvan could not phase properly. The mining robots closed in. Back in the first building, Zilthar tried to escape, but her cybernetic implants were completely overloaded. She could not see, smell, or hear properly. Her perfect hunting abilities had become useless. Daeho appeared in the doorway, wearing a simple breathing mask to protect himself from the magnetic particles. "Your tracking skills are impressive," he said calmly. "But you were hunting in my territory using my rules." Zilthar tried to attack, but her damaged implants made her clumsy and slow. Daeho easily avoided her and triggered another device. The building's walls closed in like a giant trash compactor. It was originally designed to compress waste materials for disposal. Now it compressed something else. On Earth, Choi Min-ho watched his sensors as 2 more energy signatures disappeared from Kepler 442b. "That's 5 down, 7 to go," he said in amazement. "How is he doing this?" Yang Hyewan looked up from her communications desk. "I think I know. Look at these Empire transmissions." She played recorded conversations from the assassin's ship. The remaining killers were arguing, blaming each other, and making mistakes. He's not just killing them, she realized. He's making them afraid. They've never been afraid before. Back on the mining planet, Kim Dae-ho returned to his work. Park Jin-woo found him in the main control room, planning his next trap. 7 left, Dae-ho said without being asked. "Are you worried?" Park asked. Dae-ho smiled. They should be worried. They came here thinking they were hunting one scared human. Instead, they found a human who turned their greatest strength into their greatest weakness. "What do you mean?" "Each assassin is different," Dae-ho explained. "Different species, different abilities, different ways of thinking. The Empire thought this made them unstoppable. But it also means they don't really know how to work together. When things go wrong, they argue instead of cooperating. Fear makes them suspicious of each other." Through the facility's windows, they could see the 2 moons rising in the alien sky. Somewhere up there, 7 of the galaxy's most dangerous. Killers were trying to figure out how to kill one human. They were about to learn that fear was just the beginning of Kim Dae-ho's psychological warfare. On the Silent Reaper, the 7 remaining assassins stared at each other with suspicion and fear. Half of their team was dead, and they still had not even seen their target clearly. "This human has some kind of advanced technology," said Jill Neth, the Invisible. "No normal person could fight us like this." "Maybe he's not alone," suggested Vashatar, the mind reader. "Maybe there are other humans hiding on this planet." Sekmon, the shapeshifter, stood up angrily. "Are you saying Veltar was wrong? That our intelligence was bad?" "I'm saying something is very wrong here," Vashatar replied. "This was supposed to be easy." The argument that followed was exactly what Kim Dae-ho wanted. On Earth, Song Ji-hoon had taught him about group psychology. When a team suffers losses, They often blame each other instead of working together. Dae-ho was listening to their conversations through the communication equipment he had modified. Every word they said gave him more information about their personalities and fears. From his hiding place in the facility's control room, he began the next phase of his plan. Using the mining facility's computer network, Dae-ho sent fake messages to the assassin's ship. The messages appeared to come from Empire Command, but they were actually written by him. The first message went to Sekmon. Intel suggests the human may have identified your shape-shifting abilities. Consider alternative approach. The second message went to Jilneth. Warning, target may have infrared detection. Your invisibility may be compromised. Each assassin received a different message, all designed to make them doubt their special abilities and trust each other less. Song Ji-hoon had told Dae-ho about something called paranoid amplification. When people are already worried, small, suggestions can make them much more afraid. The fake messages worked perfectly. Command thinks he knows about my shape-shifting, Sekmon told the others. They warned me about infrared detection too, Jilneth added. How does this human know so much about us? Wondered Kexthor the Berserker. Maybe one of us is giving him information, said Vashatar quietly. The suggestion hung in the air like poison. Each assassin looked at the others with new suspicion. That's impossible, Korbeth said. We are all loyal to the Empire. Are we? Vashatar asked. The human seems to know exactly what we're going to do before we do it. Down on the planet, Kim Dae-ho smiled as he listened to their argument. Fear was spreading through the assassin, teem like a disease, but he was not finished with his psychological attack. Using the facility's holographic systems, Dae-ho created false images around the mining complex. The holograms showed multiple copies of himself working in different areas. When the assassins scanned the facility, they saw what appeared to be dozens of Kim Dae-hos, all moving normally and doing everyday tasks. This is impossible, breathed Mektor, his cybernetic brain trying to process what he was seeing. There cannot be so many of him. Clones, suggested Korbeth. The humans must have cloning technology. Or it's some kind of illusion, said Jilneth. They could not agree on what they were seeing, which made them even more confused and frightened. Dae-ho decided it was time to eliminate 2 more assassins. He chose his targets carefully, based on their psychological profiles. Kexvon the Fear Eater was a strange alien who fed on the emotions of terror and panic. His species was naturally immune to fear, which made them excellent assassins. But Song Ji-hoon had told Dae-ho something interesting about Fear Eaters. They became confused and weak when surrounded by too much positive emotion. Using the facility's entertainment system, Dae-ho filled the area around Kexvon with recordings of human laughter, celebration music, and happy voices. To a Fear Eater, this was like poison. Kexvon became sick and disoriented, stumbling around like he was drunk. Dae-ho found him collapsed behind a storage building, too weak to fight back. What did you do to me? Kexvon gasped. I gave you exactly what you couldn't handle, Dae-ho replied. Happiness. The Fear Eater died confused and helpless, overcome by emotions his species could not process. The 8th assassin was Zektul the Cybernetic. His body was more machine than living tissue, which made him very strong and fast. But it also gave him a weakness that most people would never think of. Dae-ho had spent years learning about different alien technologies. He knew that Zektul's cybernetic parts used a specific type of power cell that was very advanced but also very sensitive. Using equipment from the mining facility, Dae-ho created a small electromagnetic pulse device. It was not strong enough to hurt humans or normal electronics, but it was perfectly tuned to disrupt Zektul's power cells. When the cybernetic assassin came looking for him, Dae-ho activated the device. Zektul's mechanical body shut down piece by piece. First his weapon systems failed, then his enhanced senses, then his movement controls. My systems failing, Zektul said in his electronic voice. How did you know? I make it my business to know, Dae-ho replied. Your technology is impressive, but it has weaknesses. Everything has weaknesses. Zektul collapsed, his cybernetic body nothing more than expensive scrap metal. Back on the Silent Reaper, The 5 remaining assassins watched in horror as 2 more of their team members disappeared from their sensors. 7 dead, whispered Sekmon. How is this possible? This human is not normal, said Vashatar. No ordinary person could do this. Maybe he's not human at all, suggested Corbeth. Maybe he's something else disguised as a human. The fear in their voices was obvious. Now, these killers who had never failed before were starting to break down psychologically. Jilnith activated her invisibility and moved away from the others. I don't trust any of you, she said. One of you must be working with the human. Where? Are you going? Mektor demanded. To finish this mission myself, Jilnith replied. I work better alone anyway. Don't be stupid, Sekmon called after her. We need to stay together. But it was too late. The invisible assassin had already left the ship. Down on the planet, Kim Dae-ho watched through his sensors as Jilnith approached the facility. Her invisibility was perfect. Even his best equipment could barely detect her, but he did not need to see her to know where she was. Using the mining facility's atmospheric controls, Dae-ho released a fine mist of harmless particles into the air around the building. The particles were too small to see, but they stuck to anything that moved through them. When Jilnith walked through the mist, the particles outlined her invisible body like a ghost made of stardust. Dae-ho tracked her movement and activated the facility's automated cleaning systems. Giant cleaning robots emerged from hidden compartments, spraying powerful cleaning chemicals in all directions. The chemicals were designed to remove mining dust and industrial pollution. They were harmless to humans wearing protective gear, but they were deadly to Jilnith's species. The invisible assassin died without understanding what had killed her, her body outlined by the harmless particles until the very end. On Earth, Choi Min-ho updated his reports with amazement. 8 confirmed eliminations, he told his team. Kim Dae-ho is rewriting the book on asymmetric warfare. Jang Hye-won monitored the Empire communications. The remaining 4 are completely panicked. They're accusing each other of being traitors. He's not just winning, realized another analyst. He's making them destroy themselves. Back on Kepler 442b, Kim Dae-ho prepared for the final phase of his plan. 4 assassins remained, and they were no longer thinking clearly. Fear had made them paranoid. Paranoia had made them suspicious of each other, and suspicion was about to make them do exactly what he wanted them to do. Through his communication intercepts, he heard Sekmon talking to the others. I think we should split up. Cover more ground. Bad idea, replied Mektor. We're stronger together. Are we? Sekmon asked. Or are we just making ourselves easier targets? The argument that followed told Dae-ho everything he needed to know. The famous Crimson Dozen were no longer a team. They were 4 frightened individuals who trusted no one, not even each other, and frightened enemies made the biggest mistakes of all. The 4 remaining assassins sat in the Silent Reaper's main room, but they were no longer sitting together. Each one had moved to a different corner, watching the others with suspicious eyes. We need a new plan, said Mektor, his cybernetic voice flat and emotionless. The old plan was fine, replied Corbeth the Berserker. You're all just scared. Scared? Sekmon the shapeshifter laughed bitterly. 8 of our team are dead. Maybe being scared is smart. Vashtar the mind reader tried to use his abilities to sense their thoughts, but the others had learned to block him out. Trust was completely gone. I'm going down there, announced Corbeth, standing up. His massive body was built for close combat. This human wants to play games. I'll show him what real fighting looks like. Don't be stupid, Mektor warned. He's been planning for us. He knows we're coming. Good, Corbeth growled. I prefer my enemies ready to fight. The Berserker left the ship alone, carrying weapons that could tear through metal like paper. His species had evolved on a world where only the strongest survived. He had never met an enemy he could not destroy with pure force. Kim Dae-ho watched him approach through the facility's sensors. Corbeth was not trying to hide or be clever. He was walking straight toward the main building like he owned the planet. Interesting, Dae-ho said to himself. A direct approach. But Dae-ho had been preparing for this, too. Song Ji-hoon had sent him detailed information about Berserker psychology. They were proud warriors who believed strength could overcome any problem. That pride was their weakness. Dayho activated the facility's mining robots and sent them to meet Korbeth in the open area between buildings. 12 large machines rolled out to face the assassin. Korbeth laughed when he saw them. "Mining robots? This is what the great human sends to fight me?" He attacked the first robot with his bare hands, tearing it apart like it was made of paper. His species' strength was incredible. He could break metal that would stop a normal person. The second robot fell just as easily. Then the third. Korbeth roared in triumph as he destroyed robot after robot. This was what he understood. Simple, direct combat where the strongest won. But while he was fighting, he did not notice what the destroyed robots were releasing. Each robot contained a different chemical used in mining operations. By themselves, the chemicals were harmless. But when they mixed together in the right combinations, they created something very dangerous. Dayho had programmed the robots to release their chemicals as they were destroyed. Korbeth's own strength was creating a deadly cloud around him. By the time the Berserker realized what was happening, it was too late. The chemical mixture was affecting his breathing and making him dizzy. "Clever," Korbeth admitted as he fell to his knees. "But I can still reach you." He crawled toward the main building, his incredible strength keeping him moving even as the chemicals poisoned him. Dayho was waiting in the doorway. "You fought well," Dayho said respectfully. "Your species values honor in battle. I can respect that." "Just finish it," Korbeth gasped. Dayho used a mining laser to end the Berserker's suffering quickly. There was no point in making him suffer more. On the ship, the 3 remaining assassins felt Korbeth's life signs disappear. "9 down," whispered Sekmon. "How?" Mektor asked. "Korbeth was the strongest of us all." The human turned his strength against him, Vashatar said quietly. "Just like he's turned all our abilities against us." They sat in silence for a long moment, each thinking about their dead teammates. "We should leave," Sekmon finally said. "Report back to the Empire. Tell them this human needs a fleet, not assassins." "We can't," Mektor replied. "If we return without completing the mission, they'll execute us for failure." "Better than dying here," Sekmon argued. "No," said Vashatar firmly. "We finish this, but we do it smart." The mind reader had been studying the human's tactics. "He's been using our differences against us. Each death was designed for that specific assassin's weaknesses." "So what do we do?" Sekmon asked. "We work together. Really together for the first time. No more individual attacks." The 3 assassins began planning their final assault. But they did not know that Kim Dayho was listening to every word through the communication systems he had hacked. "Working together at last," he said to Park Jin-woo. "Too bad it's too late." The next morning, the 3 assassins approached the mining facility from different directions, but they stayed in constant communication. Vashatar used his mind reading to coordinate their movements. Sekmon changed his shape to look like a human worker. Mektor used his cybernetic sensors to scan for traps. It was the best teamwork they had shown since arriving on the planet. But Dayho had been planning for this too, using the facility's quantum communication array, technology that was more advanced than anything the Empire had. Dayho created multiple versions of himself across different dimensions. When Vashatar tried to read his mind, he found dozens of Kim Dayhos, all thinking different thoughts in different realities. "This is impossible," Vashatar said over the communication link. "I'm reading his thoughts from multiple dimensions at once." "What does that mean?" Sekmon asked. "It means either he's found a way to exist in multiple realities, or he's found a way to make me think he has." The psychological impact was devastating. The assassins had already seen Dayho do impossible things. Now they had to consider that he might not be bound by normal reality. Mektor's sensors were showing similar confusion. "I'm detecting his heat signature in 17 different locations simultaneously." "How many humans are we really fighting?" Sekmon wondered. The doubt and confusion were exactly what Dayho wanted. While the assassins tried to figure out which version of him was real, he was preparing his final trap. But this trap was different from the others. Instead of using the facility's equipment, he was going to use something much more powerful. The planet itself. Kepler 442b had unusual geological properties. The mining operations had been established there because of rare minerals that existed nowhere else in the galaxy. Those same minerals could be made very unstable under the right conditions. Daiho had spent days preparing a chain reaction that would start small and grow larger. When he triggered it, the entire mining complex would become a weapon. But he waited. The three assassins were getting closer, and he wanted them all in the right position. On Earth, Kim So-young received a message from Daiho through the secret communication channels. It was short and simple. Package almost ready for return shipping. She understood. Daiho was not just planning to survive this fight. He was planning to send a message to the Empire that they would never forget. The final battle was about to begin, and Kim Daiho had one more surprise for the galaxy's most feared killers. The three remaining assassins moved through the mining facility like ghosts. They had learned to work together at last, but it might be too late. Vashatar the Mind Reader led the group, trying to sort through the confusing thoughts he was detecting. Mektor, the cybernetic, scanned for traps with his advanced sensors. Sekmon the Shapeshifter stayed ready to change form at any moment. I think I've found the real one, Vashatar whispered. Third level, near the main power core. They moved carefully through the facility. Human workers passed by them, not knowing that deadly killers were walking among them. Sekmon looked like just another employee going about his daily job. Kim Daiho was indeed near the power core, but not for the reason they thought. He was making final adjustments to his greatest trap, one that would use the planet's own geological instability as a weapon. Almost ready, he said quietly to Park Jin-woo through his communication device. Are you sure about this? Park asked. The whole facility could be destroyed. The workers are safely in the emergency shelters, Daiho replied. I triggered the evacuation drill an hour ago. Only the assassins and I are still in the danger zone. The three killers reached the power core level and spread out to surround their target. For the first time since arriving on Kepler 442b, they felt confident. 3 against 1, working together, using all their skills. Vashatar stepped into the main power room first. He could sense Kim Daiho's thoughts clearly now, calm, focused, and strangely peaceful. Found you, Vashatar said. Kim Daiho turned around slowly. He was holding a simple device with a single button. Yes, Daiho said, calmly. You found me. Mektor and Sekmon entered from the other doors, completing the trap. The human was surrounded with no way to escape. 12 of us came to kill you, Vashatar said. You murdered 9 of my teammates. I defended myself, Daiho replied. You came to my world to kill me. What did you expect? We expected to face a normal human, Mektor said, his cybernetic voice cold. You are something else. I'm exactly what I appear to be, Daiho said. A human who prepared for your arrival. Sekmon shifted into his true form, a frightening creature with multiple arms and razor-sharp claws. Enough talking. Time to die, human. The 3 assassins attacked at once. Vashatar tried to control Daiho's mind, but found something unexpected. The human's thoughts were completely calm. There was no fear, no panic, just quiet acceptance. Mektor fired his weapons, but Daiho had positioned himself behind machinery that absorbed the blast. Sekmon lunged forward with his claws, but Daiho was no longer there. Goodbye, Kim Daiho said, and pressed the button. The device triggered a chain reaction that started in the power core and spread outward through the planet's crust. The rare minerals that made Kepler 442b valuable also made it incredibly unstable. When excited by the right energy frequency, the explosion was not immediate. It built slowly, starting as a rumble and growing into something much more powerful. Vashatar realized what was happening. He's going to destroy the entire facility. And himself with it, Mektor observed. But Kim Daiho was not planning to die. As the explosions began, he activated a personal shield device and dove into an emergency escape pod that he had hidden in the power room. The pod shot through a tunnel he had secretly excavated during his weeks at the facility. It carried him, far from the mining complex, just as the chain reaction reached its peak. The 3 assassins were not so lucky. The explosion consumed the power core and spread through the facility like a living thing. Vashatar tried to use his mental powers to find an escape route, but the psychic energy of the explosion overwhelmed his abilities. Mektor's cybernetic body was strong, but not strong enough to survive the forces that Daiho had unleashed. Sekmon tried to shift into a form that could survive the explosion, but there was no form in the galaxy that could withstand what was happening. The three final assassins of the Crimson Dozen died together, consumed by a chain reaction that turned their target's hiding place into a weapon beyond their understanding. When the explosions finally stopped, there was only a crater where the mining facility had been. Kim Dae-ho emerged from his escape pod, several kilometers away. He looked back at the destruction and spoke quietly. Message sent. 3 days later, in the Vorthak Empire's main fleet, Admiral Cax Thul received an unexpected delivery. A standard Imperial cargo container appeared in his flagship's docking bay. The security scans showed it contained no weapons or explosives, so they brought it aboard. Inside the container, Caxathul found 12 smaller boxes, each one labeled with the name and service record of a Crimson Dozen member. The first 11 boxes contained fragments, pieces of equipment, cybernetic parts, and other remains that had been carefully collected and sorted. Each box included a detailed report written in perfect Imperial military format, explaining exactly how that assassin had died. The reports were terrifyingly precise and almost casual in tone. They read like training manuals, showing step by step how human tactics had defeated the Empire's best killers. The 12th box was different. It contained Veltar the Mind Ripper, alive but changed. The once proud assassin leader sat in the box like a broken toy. His cybernetic implants had been removed and replaced with crude mechanical devices that barely functioned. His memory had been carefully edited, leaving him able to remember his defeat, but unable to recall any useful tactical information. Attached to Veltar's box was a note written in perfect Vorthak script. Admiral Cax Thul, thank you for sending the Crimson Dozen to provide combat training for our human agents. The exercise was most educational. As you can see from the attached reports, we have documented their tactics and techniques for future reference. Your assassins showed admirable dedication, though their methods were somewhat outdated. Please feel free to send more challenging opponents next time, as we are always looking to improve our defensive capabilities. We have returned your property in the condition we found most appropriate. Respectfully, Kim Dae-ho, Human Intelligence Command. Admiral Cax Thul read the note 3 times before he understood what had happened. The human had not just survived the attack. He had turned it into a lesson and sent the results back like a school project. The note was copied and transmitted to every major power in the galaxy within hours. The story spread through the Empire's ranks like wildfire. The mighty Vorthak Empire had sent 12 elite assassins to kill 1 human. The human had killed 11 and returned the 12th with a polite note asking for better opponents. On Earth, Otai Jin read the after-action report with amazement. Kim Dae-ho's mission was officially complete, but its impact would last for generations. Across the galaxy, species that had never heard of humans began to whisper a new word: dangerous. The Vorthak Empire quietly removed Kim Dae-ho from all target lists. Other criminal organizations and hostile governments followed suit. Some lessons they learned were too expensive to repeat. Kim Dae-ho returned to his regular assignment as if nothing had happened. When his colleagues asked him about the mission, he simply said, "It was educational." But late at night, in the Yace, dark spaces between stars, bounty hunters and assassins shared a new rule: some prey hunts back. The galaxy was vast, full of ancient empires and terrible weapons. But now they all knew that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the universe was one human who had something to prove, and Kim Dae-ho had proven his point very clearly. The Empire had sent 12 elite assassins to kill him. He had sent them, back in fragments, with a note politely requesting better opponents next time. The message was received, understood, and would not be forgotten. In the taverns of 1,000 worlds, they would tell this story for generations. The day one human turned the galaxy's most feared killers into a training exercise and sent the results back to their employers with his compliments. The hunt was over. The human had won, and the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again.